Hi friends, my name's Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. I'm so excited about this video because it's about my current obsession, which is Spanish thrillers, mystery thrillers that just so satisfying. I asked you in a recent video if you would ever want to see a list and a lot of you said yes, and I particularly love this comment, so I was inspired by this comment to give you some. These are Spanish, so from Spain the country, not just Spanish language films. I just want to clear that up. There are so many more that I could have included if it wasn't that, but I just wanted to keep really niche with this list because it's gonna scratch that particular itch. If you're into something that's really twisty and turny and full of mystery and crime and drama, these are the films for that, and I have something for everybody. So really get your pen and paper out because you're not gonna want to miss these. I absolutely loved doing this video, staying up late every single night for the last 2 weeks, finding these twisted stories. I was living the dream. These are also just thrillers. If I was going to do thriller kind of horror movies, I would have included things like The Orphanage, Julia's Eyes. It is, as always, a very strange thing to try and take the thriller out of the horror or the horror out of the thriller, but I've tried to stick to twisted, psychological, sometimes crime kind of mystery thrillers. As the list gets started, you'll know exactly what I mean by the subject matters, so let's dive in. I'm so excited. If you do find these videos helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and let's start with the first movie, Sequestro. Sequestro's English title is Boy Missing, but you'll find it under the original title in most places if you're looking for it. This is a twisted crime thriller about a boy who was found injured and disorientated. As the police put together the hunt for the perpetrator, his mother, who is a well-known attorney, uses her connections to take matters into her own hands, but her son isn't out of the woods just yet. This is a Spanish mystery thriller after all, so it's not as simple as that. The film has a few twists and turns and has a big poetic finish. This one focuses more on the crime world, revealing the powerful underbelly of those in positions of power. But be warned, the film does have a lot of dark aspects involving crime and animals. So check out doesthedogdie.com if you're worried. Next, The Hidden Face. If you think it's predictable, the truth is much more torturous than you could ever imagine. The Hidden Face is about a man who comes home to a message from his girlfriend who has left him. Moving on, he tries to regain his happiness, but local detectives won't let him move on that easily because they suspect his girlfriend is not missing. Instead, she may have been kidnapped. The movie has a unique premise which doesn't fully kick in until the second half, but it paves the way for a lot of great payoffs. This one I'd recommend as an easy to watch Sunday night drama thriller. But if you're looking for something a little bit more chilling and psychological, the next one is for you. This one starts out simple, but then flips into a bizarre story of human interaction. The movie is about Felix, a man who has just broken up with his partner when an uninvited guest appears at his doorstep. The guest asks to use his phone, but then vanishes. Now, all alone in his big house, he begins to hear things. Is it just his loneliness, or is someone living with him? This definitely qualifies as a twisted thriller because where it starts is very different to how it ends. The film has dramatic turns that will keep you on your toes. What starts off as almost comedic behavior soon throws a viewer into complete darkness. This film is unique in more ways than one and will have you piecing together the mystery long after the credits roll. This was probably my best find when doing this list, so definitely put it down. But I do have to say, it did take me a while to understand what I just witnessed, but the pieces do come together, so just let it fall where it may. I know I'm being very vague, but I promise you it is worth the journey, and if you think it doesn't make sense, think about it again. I feel like I'm speaking in riddles. I watched too many of these mystery thrillers. The next film, Mirage, has a completely different pace, and it's more of a polished film, and this one is on Netflix, so it's pretty easily accessible. It also has a fantasy romance twist, but it's still a satisfying thriller because it's centered around a crime mystery. If you're a fan of the South Korean film The Call from 2020, you may get a kick out of this one. The movie is about a small family that move into a house that holds the key to a mystery from 25 years earlier. After a storm hits, the mother is able to contact someone from the past who who lived in their house and urges them to protect themselves. Unknowingly, this puts wheels into motion that will change their lives and her family's life forever. The way the main story is hooked into this crime mystery that happened 25 years earlier is pretty unique. It's a twisted ride with a great protagonist, and again, this one's on Netflix, so get onto it. Mirage would also pair really well as a double feature with one of my favorite time travel films of all time, Time Crimes. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say it. I think this is my favorite time travel film ever. This film is a psychological thriller that follows a man that accidentally gets into a time machine and travels back just an hour. What I like about this film particularly is it warps into itself almost in real time, so it doesn't move any further back than an hour, so you're given all of the pieces to the puzzle and there's no huge backstory that's required. I always feel like real-time thrillers or time-sensitive thrillers and films hold more tension, and Time Crimes certainly lives up to the hype. Let's get a little bit more dramatic. The Paramedic is a 2020 thriller about Angel, played by Mario Casas. Angel is a man out of control, and after a tragic accident at work, his temper boils over, and in turn, his personal life falls apart as he becomes suspicious of his girlfriend cheating on him. And Angel, I tell you what, he'll do anything to stay in control. This one has less twists, and it's more about the horrors of a man who has nothing left to lose and how far he will go to feel in control. It skews to more of a drama side with a thrilling conclusion. A security guard working at a morgue panics and runs into the road in the middle of the night. Now he is in a coma, and a group of detectives rush to the scene to find out what caused him to flee. Their first clue, a missing dead body. This was by far the most recommended movie to me when I was talking to you all about Spanish thrillers, and I understand why now. The movie is a twisted mystery that will truly have you guessing up until the final moment, and I really love that most of it takes place in a morgue, so you never really feel off the hook. It's got this creepy atmosphere to it. Some movies never leave you, and The Skin I Live In is one of the most horrific drama thrillers I've ever seen. If you're looking for a twisted thriller that is on the disturbing side, this one takes the cake. Honestly, I mean it. Huge disturbing warning on this one. The film stars Antonio Banderas as a talented, high-regarded plastic surgeon who is haunted by the horrific death of his late wife. Now he puts his grief into action by creating a synthetic skin that can withstand damage. The idea is this skin could have saved his wife's life, but now he must test it out on a human. Again, a warning, you will never look at Antonio Banderas the same. Back to drama crime thrillers, this one may not be as disturbing, but it is just as highly regarded. The Invisible Guest is a favorite among many thriller fans, and this one is as twisty as they come. Another one starring Mario Casas. This film is about a successful businessman that is accused of murder, and now he's working with a very successful lawyer on his defense. The viewer plays a fly on the wall at their meeting, and as the lawyer digs deeper, more secrets unravel. It's a tightly wound story with a lot of depth and some shocking payoffs. Shrew's Nest is a high-tension thriller from 2014. The film is set in an apartment block in the 1950s. The film follows a woman suffering from agoraphobia, and her only link to the outside world is her sister that she lives with. But all of this changes suddenly when her neighbor falls down the stairwell, becoming her new focus. The film is a twisted psychological thriller that borders on disturbing. Best to go in blind. If you're a crime detective fan, Marshland has more of a true detective Mindhunter vibe. This one centers around two cops who are determined to solve a murder case deep in the south of Spain. The case itself is unnerving and violent, but the scenery where it takes place is truly remarkable. Its stunning cinematography, art design, and landscapes play a huge role in the atmosphere. So if you're in the mood for a pretty brutal hunter-killer crime thriller, check this one out. Magic Girl is a twisted story that links several people together, starting with a desperate father who would do anything to provide a wish for his daughter. Although a simple linear story, the film follows the consequences of the father and all those sucked into his orbit. It's a strange, unnerving slow burn that keeps some of the most disturbing aspects off screen, letting the silence do the talking. And when the violence is on screen, it's always by surprise. This one is shocking, I'm warning you. I'd recommend this film to people who have a more dry, understated taste. This one will stick with you, or really to you. I went back and forth on whether to include this one. I'm not sure if it's more of a horror or thriller, but with its crime aspect, it seemed to fit on this list. Thesis is the directing debut of Alejandro Amenabar, who the last film on this list is also by. The film follows Angela, a university student who is writing her thesis on audiovisual violence when she discovers a snuff film, and soon she finds out that the victim of this video was a former student at her school. The film is riddled with tension, and it placed the director on the map as a skilled storyteller of terror. He later went on to do The Others, and of course, last but not least, Open Your Eyes is perhaps the most surrealist mystery thriller on this list, but it's one of the most well-known. Many people will know the American remake Vanilla Sky. The original also stars Penelope Cruz, and if you've seen either version, you'll know it's not a film you just watch once. Every viewing brings something new to the table. The plot is about a man who is falling in love with a woman, but then suffers horrific injuries in a car wreck. Now his life begins to fall apart as he suffers from disorientating episodes. Honestly, there's no easy way to explain this film, but it's a chilling nightmare with a sci-fi twist. Watch this one if you're looking to go a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole and aren't too worried about potentially losing yourself on the way out. It's definitely still considered a Spanish mystery thriller, but it's a little bit more ambiguous than the rest, and it doesn't give you the easiest wrap-up reveal ending. Of course, Sleep Tight and The Occupant are two films I spoke about recently when I brought up this idea, so don't forget to add them to your list if you haven't. Also, if you just want to see the video where I talk about them, it's linked here and down below, so check that out. If there are some films missing from this list, it's because I didn't really consider them to be straight up mystery thrillers with twists, or they weren't just Spanish films. Of course, House at the End of Time is a great one, or there's just straight up horrors. Anyway, you get it. But if you do think that you know a film that I've missed that is very similar to the rest on this list, please leave it down below because I really want to check it out. There's honestly nothing better I want to do with my time, and I mean that wholeheartedly. For people who can't tell when I'm being sarcastic or not, I mean it. Please leave it down below. If you've enjoyed this video and I've given you a couple to put on your to watch list, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And if you think someone else you know might enjoy this list, please share the video with them. That also helps me out a lot. And if you have not subscribed, why not? Come on, come and join. You're scared that I'm going to add too much to your watch list, aren't you? Okay. But I hope you had a good time hanging out with me today, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky, thrilling. Okay, I'm going. Bye, friends.